Government officials insist that this is an isolated incident.
Warning. The following program contains explicit language and mature content. It is not meant for the easily offended. So if you are an emotional pussy, please refrain from listening. Thank you and enjoy.
All right, welcome back. Another edition of the Buzz Podcast. It's your boy Cujo, bringing you with all the craziest shit that we got going on. This beautiful city offers so much, so many things, so much culture, so much fucking pure. What's the word I'm looking for? Creators. There's so much. See, this is what happens when you stay up for like 2 days and you don't sleep. There's so much creativity here in El Paso. I'm lucky enough to bring on a singer, designer, philanthropist, entrepreneur, all around just a pimp, owner of Ticini Girl, Diora Couture. She's also a CEO of Paso Dream Foundation, which is a nonprofit. Like I said, singer, designer, all that good stuff. She goes by the name of Illiana. Illiana, did I get that right finally?
Illiana.
That's what's up.
You got it.
I was gonna say the last name, but you said it too fast. I don't want to butcher your stuff.
Just say
you know
Illiana
what I mean?
V, because
Illiana V.
Villalpando is hard. Okay.
Villalpando.
Even to the seasoned Mexicans.
Yeah,
that's
all the
a hard...
beaners get that. You gotta roll that just the right way. All right, Illiana, I appreciate you making your way out here. I know you've got a busy life. I know you got something coming up pretty soon, October 17th, 18th, and 19th, which is the whole reason that we're here.
Yes.
That is, as you can see in the back on the background there, Third Eye Carnival. We'll get into that in just a bit, but like I said, Illiana, like, how did you get? Like, how did this come about? Like, this whole, what was your whole, like, how did you get into this party planning, coming from being a singer, a designer, philanthropist, and now you're throwing a carnival? Like, how did this all come together?
Oh my! It's actually, it is a long story, but I'll try to make it as short.
Hey, that's
as
what we're here for.
possible, You know, no, it's because it's too much. It's too much to put into a single hour. But like, I started singing as a kid. I started singing as a very young kid, and people don't know, as a young child, I grew up with dyslexia, and I was diagnosed with ADHD when I was 7 years old, and diagnosed with Asperger's when I was 30. So my whole life, I grew up with a cognitive disorder that nobody knew about.
Yeah.
And the best way that I can say it is I grew up with this extremely positive attitude, and no matter what life threw at me, whether it was a broken limb or, you know, a beat up car or losing things, you know, I just always remained positive. And little did I know that was actually a psychological disorder.
Wow, yeah.
So people, I would annoy people at the same time though. And people would just be like, you know, have you ever heard of, what's that word? When you're positive, but it's a negative form of positivity, you know, a toxic positivity.
Okay.
And so I was just like, I didn't understand what that meant because I physically did not understand what that meant. All I knew is that my whole life, I wanted to find new things. And I've always been that type of person that's just like, well, what's new? What's different? And how can you, how do I say this? I never stopped asking why. You know, as a kid, I would be like, well, where did this come from? And why was this made? And why did it go there? And, you know, and that's what ended up getting me through so many different types of industries in my life. But it wasn't until I hit my 30s, I had a brain aneurysm, and then I nearly died. I had bleeding out in my right front temporal lobe, and I should technically be a vegetable right now. So I'm a living miracle. But after that, I decided, you know what? Life is short, and go after what you love and do what you love and truly find your passion. And so music was always my passion, you know, and when I was in high school, I always told people I'm going to grow up to be a model and an actress and do this and that. And people always made fun because I grew up in a small town. I grew up in Chaparral, New Mexico. To those that know this area, you know, Chaparral is the ghetto of the ghetto. You know,
solid good 3 blocks.
Exactly. But to those that grew up in Chaparral, you basically had weeds and you had cactuses and you just had barren land, you know, and for you to be out there just dreaming as big as you are, you know, at some point, most people out there, they end up just not going after the dreams because they're surrounded by that environment of barren land, and you just really don't go out there and say, you know what, I can do it. But in the past few years, I decided, you know what, I'm going to go do something different for myself. And I went out, started launching my own music, and then my music got traction. One of my songs was picked in a movie. So my one of my original songs is a motion picture soundtrack, you know, and after that, I just thought to myself, you know what, if I can do this, and I can do more. And so one day out of the blue, and this was 2 years ago, I get a call from somebody and they say, hey, we saw that you have beautiful clothes all the time. Are you a designer? And I'm like, no, I sew for myself. My brother is actual designer. And I said, they were just like, well, we're looking for designers if you know anybody. And I thought to myself, I'll just do it. Let's see what happens. Right. And so I committed myself to 15 outfits, and little did I know that from that one fashion show, things would blow up from there for me in fashion. I was invited to be part of a bunch of publications, television. I'm about to put the brand into a movie, and this is a big production company. I can't say who it is, but we're about to have my brand Diora Couture in a legitimate Hollywood movie. And now I'm just like, you know what, God, like, I'm going to keep going forward. And from that, from working with models, I decided, you know what, I started seeing a lot of weird things in the industry when it comes to agencies. And it's not just here in El Paso. It's things that happens within agencies all across the United States, you know, and there were things that they were doing that I found to be unethical, things that I found that I was just like, man, like, if I had my own agency, I wouldn't do these to these models, you know. I would make sure that they know how to put themselves out there, how to network for themselves, how to be their own bosses, you know. I've worked for myself practically my entire life. I've been an independent contractor and just worked for myself since I was 19 years old. So I've never been able to work for anyone. I always tell people, I'm like, I don't like being bossed around. I'm the boss. I tell the orders, you know. And so after that, I decided, you know what, I'm going to create not a fashion school, but basically a platform for models and entertainers to know how to put themselves out there. So and right now I'm developing something called the fashion of business, or the business of fashion. And I'm creating this platform so that models that come through here can excel in their careers in the fashion industry, whether they're going to come in as models, as designers, or just as event coordinators, because there is a lot of money that is can be made, not just as a model and not just as a fashion designer, but there's so many avenues that you can put out there. This past year, I've had the ability to publish girls in magazines in the UK. We have publications now for Diora Couture in Russia. We have them in Germany. One of my recent models, she just got a Parisian editorial as well. And so it's crazy to think that 2 years ago, I started a brand. I literally gave that brand its name the day of the show. And I'm serious. I didn't know what to call it. And so at that time frame, I was like, I need to come up with something. And the girl was like, you need to give me a name. What's the name of your brand? And I'm like, I don't know. I'm like, I don't know.
So how did you decide on the name?
So, okay. So that's an interesting story. So, at that day, like, I had this like reminder of people that have done really beautiful things to me in my life, or that have inspired me in some way. And there are very particular girls. So hopefully if they ever get to hear this, they'll understand. But Dior is actually an acronym, and it's 3 specific girls' names. It's Dina, it's Indira, it's Orfa, it's Ruby, and it's Anna. Those 5 individuals did something very particular in my life. Dina was the very first girl that I met we were in second grade.
Okay.
And we learned how to do gymnastics together. We learned about tumbling, and she was the first girl that ever helped pick me up when I literally fell on my back and was running out of air. And
Right.
and she picked me up and said, hey, you know, it's going to happen. You just have to like let it go and don't cry and just get back up. And it's crazy how I had this memory of all these girls, and I'm just like, you know what, God, if you're putting them in my mind for some reason, then it's a reason why they're there. So I did the acronym Diora with their names. Indira was a young lady that I met in the Dominican Republic several years ago, back in 2015. So for about 10 years of my life, I was a missionary. A lot of people don't know this about me too, unless they know me personally, but
Right.
I was involved with the Christian church, and I basically was a music minister for many years, and I would create choirs, and we would travel around all the world. So I've been to Ecuador, to the Dominican Republic, to Panama, to Bolivia. I've been in Israel and Palestine. But all of those countries, they taught me so much about myself, about music, about culture, and just how people can unite with music.
Yeah.
But Indira was a very particular girl that I met out there in the Dominican Republic, and she was just this amazing, beautiful soul who was just trying to better her life. But it was like life did everything to not let her succeed, you know. She had a sister, and her sister had passed away from cancer, left behind 3 little girls. She has no kids of her own, and now she's having to take care of 3 kids that aren't even hers.
Right.
And so she's taking care of these little kids, and she literally is doing everything she can possible to maintain her household.
Right.
And when I first met her, like, I got to go and stay in the property that she was, opening the doors for.
Okay.
The mission, the missionary opportunity was at her home.
At her home. Okay.
And so, but what she didn't understand is like, her home was literally next to a lake. And she had this gorgeous property with banana trees, and it literally, I swear to you, when I first came into this property, I was like, are we going to a resort? And no, it turns out that we were in one of the poorest areas in the Dominican Republic.
Wow.
And so I'm just like, wow. And this girl, she just had the most beautiful smile. She had this most like just infectious, beautiful character. And I thought to myself, like, wow, like she has everything against her, yet God blessed her in this beautiful way, and she's protecting these kids. And I have a whole lot to say about her. She's just an amazing human being, but she's one of the people that impacted me. Then Orpha was this girl that I grew up when I was from second all the way to my senior year. She lived a few blocks away from me, but Orpha was this beautiful girl that ended up just becoming this just amazing mother. And she was somebody that even to this day, I always look up to. I always say, if you want to learn to be a good mom, Orpha's the girl you should emulate, because she's just the most...
The poster child for it.
She's just the poster mom.
Yeah.
She is, like, seriously, like, she's that mom that is there front and center for her kids in every step of the way. And I remember just looking at her growing up. And if you ever, like, if any of these people listening ever listen to a book called Anne of Green Gables, she reminds me so much of Anne. And she's just this beautiful, beautiful individual. And she's such a kind heart. And now she's a photographer. She does photography for real estate. She lives out in San Antonio, but she's still just this amusing, beautiful, beautiful person. And then there's Ruby. Ruby I knew in high school, and Ruby was this just cutthroat chick. Ooh. Like, she was just like, you fuck with her and she would fuck you up.
That's
you
what's
know?
up.
And I
like Ruby. I like Ruby.
Ruby's badass, you know, but that's the thing, is that Ruby, she wouldn't take shit from nobody. She wouldn't take shit from the teachers, from nobody. And whenever she saw an injustice happen, she would not lay back until it got resolved. And it's something that I've always like looked at her, and I'm just like, man, like Ruby's a badass. Like, I want to grow up to be like that. I want to have that character where you're just like, you're going to stand up for what is right, and you're not going to weigh from it, you know? Right. And then lastly, there's Anna, and Anna lived right across the street from me. She was my neighbor right across the street, and she was 2 years younger than me. But Anna was, how do I say this? She came as an illegal immigrant with her family, and Anna was probably one of the most smartest girls I have ever known. And for her to come to this country with no knowledge of English language, and for her to graduate with honors from high school, to graduate from honors from college, and to just continue excelling in her life, I'm just like, wow.
Yeah.
So Diora is basically that. It's a bunch of women that have done or shown me something amazing, and each one of them have just been just powerhouses in their own way.
Right.
But they're the ones that molded me throughout my life, and they're the ones that I had there to show me, hey, you can be a good mother, you can be a badass, you can be smart, you can be an innovator. And one of them taught me you can always get back up and just breathe, you know.
Yeah. No, I mean, they come together like Voltron. You got to have all the pieces to come together and form that one perfect entity, right?
Exactly.
Now, I know you said that, growing up in the industry or, working through the industry, you saw some wild stuff that you were like, can you talk about any of that, or
Sure.
like
yeah.
what's some of the craziest stuff that you saw that kind of really blew your mind?
There's a lot of favoritism in the modeling community. There's a lot of agencies that, obviously they need to make their money,
Right.
so they recruit and recruit and recruit. But just how they give that same energy to somebody that is a certain way, they need to give that to all their models. They need to give that same level. I feel like anybody can do anything as long as they put in the effort. But how are you going to know if they're capable of doing that effort if you don't put any of that energy how you're doing to this other model? You know what I mean?
So for a model, like say for example, now again, I'm speaking on this, pure ignorance, right? My understanding is always it's about the look, right, that a person has, or
Yeah.
either you have it or you don't. How can somebody, if they look a certain way, like how can if say you have a person A and person B, and person A is like your poster child, beautiful, what's looked as beautiful at the time, right?
Yeah.
Because beauty has changed through the years and through the through the centuries. And
Beauty is subjective, and it's
Yeah.
in the eye of the beholder.
it definitely is in the eye of the beer holder. Now, when you're looking at person B, if they're not at that same beauty level as per se, like how can that person become like how can they advance or become better? Like you said, working at it. What does that mean? What does that entail?
Honestly, looks at the very end of the day, they really don't matter in this industry.
Okay.
What you're building in a person is their confidence. Now, if you can build that confidence, you could literally throw a bathrobe, a trash bag on someone. But if they have the confidence, they can portray whatever designer it is that they're walking for. Because at the end of the day, what I'm looking for as a designer is somebody that actually holds that confidence.
Yeah.
You can look however you want to look, but for me, it is 100% the confidence. And then also it's like the determination to actually go and put in the work. Because this is a thing also, and it goes both ways, okay? I've had models, and I'm not throwing any of them underneath the bus when I say this, but I've had models that are very beautiful. They are gorgeous. They're that poster child that you're like, man, they could be on whatever magazine, but they have the most horrible attitudes. They are arrogant. And it's like, how do you expect me as a designer to want to work with you when you're acting a certain way? And it's that's the thing. Yes, be confident, but don't be arrogant either. Because at the end of the day, people still want people that are likable to work with. And that's one thing that I've noticed even within these agencies is that that's something you really can't teach. It's something that you have to emulate. And that's something that the organization has to emulate themselves.
Yeah.
Because if they're emulating arrogance, that's what their product is going to become. You are going to create a product of arrogance.
Yeah, well, it's a bystander of what you're doing. I mean, like you said, if you're favoriting person A, for the poster child or whatever, they're going to get everything at the drop of a dime. I mean, arrogance is naturally going to come with you, right? It's part of the gig. One, you're already a model. Then two, you're getting always selected for whatever show, whatever designer, whatever's coming up. But it's always you. Well, there's a certain expectation that it's always going to be me and everybody else is beneath me. And that's something that that's when working with models, is that like how do you change that mindset with people as far as to get out of the whole, because you have the whole interpretation of a model is to be gawked at and be looked at like a goddess, right? Because that's what the model for that's what guys think about when they see these women that are just so.
And that's what they think, like,
Yeah.
but it's not.
So how do you turn them down a peg? 'Cause, I mean, there's a few girls that I'd like to turn down a peg.
No, so for me, and as a designer aspect,
Yeah.
so this is where the designer comes in. So in the designer aspect, I always, when I'm talking to my girls and any type of model, I let them know the difference. Like, you're not there to be seen. My clothing is what's being seen.
Okay.
It's not about you. It's about my dress. So if you want to show me that you're a great model, get that dress sold. Then I'll believe you that you're a good model. Because if the product doesn't get sold, then you didn't do your job. You didn't really give it that expectation that I was expecting. The reason you're there portraying the dress is because my expectation as a designer is that that dress gets sold.
Right.
And so when I talk to models, and this is not in no way disrespectful, they understand this now, is that you're a walking hanger. You are there to represent the clothing line. It isn't about you. This is about the item that is being worn, and are you representing it according to how the brand wants? Because every brand has its own thing.
Right.
You have brands that are sporty, that has a specific walk. You have brands that are grungy, that has a specific walk.
Okay.
And it's like, can you represent that particular brand and the essence of what that brand wants? And when you can represent that brand, guess what? One of two things is going to happen. Either the dress gets sold, or you end up bringing even more models that want to represent that brand. And that's how you start creating a culture around a brand, because people love it. People love the message. People love the culture itself that you're creating. And that's at the end of the day what all designers want.
Yeah.
It's not for somebody to just wear a hoodie, not just for somebody to wear a dress. What does that dress and what does that hoodie represent? There's a message behind it. The question is, are they representing that message accurately? So for me personally, I have 3 clothing lines. The most recent one that I'm working on the hardest right now is on Diora Couture, and it's my black label. So Diora Couture is all custom clothing, but I make high-end custom clothing. So if you ever seen a mafia woman, with the pearls and the silk, that's what I create. But I create everything according to someone's specific body type. I want to make sure that a dress fits somebody like a glove. I want them to feel comfortable in their clothing, but to look beautiful and to look elegant. So when I'm talking to models, and they come and work for me, they go through an entire month of walking courses. And it's not like, oh, I don't want you just walking like this diva down. No, I want you to portray elegance. I want you to walk softly. I want your feminine side. I want to see that femininity that just radiates, where everybody's just gawking at you because you just look beautiful. That's what I want. I don't want people looking at you in a raunchy way where it's like they're, salivating over your ass. No, that is not my brand.
That is completely wrong.
Yeah, and that's not what I'm looking for when it comes to my particular brand. But it's just like there are so many people out there that have that mentality where they're just like, you know what, models are meant to be gawked at.
Yeah.
Yes and no. It's like you want to look at them, but are they representing the brand, how the brand is being, how it is? Because if they do a great job, that's when models get jobs. That's when they get paid. That's when they get editorials. That's when they get commercial gigs. So I always tell the girls, like, there's a difference between a good model and a great model. A good model knows how to take pretty pictures. A great model sells the dress.
Damn. I want to find a good model. I'll find a great model. Shit, I'll settle for the backup squad. So let me ask you a question for something that's always blown my mind since, from the designer aspect, right? Why, like when they show like the Met Gala, right? Like, do you keep, I'm assuming
I do.
You have to keep in touch with or you have to keep eyes on all that stuff, right? Why is it that people are wearing the most outrageous clothing in the Met Gala that you're just like, dude?
It depends on the designer themselves and how their brand is. Basically, the Met Gala is how do I say this? It's an organization that restores and basically keeps gowns as art pieces, because people don't realize when it comes to fashion, like there's a difference between fast fashion and custom couture. This is why I went into custom couture, because when I create my designs, first of all, they're one of ones. I never recreate any of my gowns. I see them as art pieces. These are walking art pieces. And when you look into the work that it takes to create an evening gown, or even just to create some pant set, whatever, right? You're literally jumping into all facets of architecture just to create these designs. And you're sketching, you're graphing, you're cutting, you're sewing, you're pinning. There is so much that goes into creating a specific piece. But when you're talking about these specific designers and how these are a lot of urban artists, and it's actually super intelligent marketing, because it gets them the exact attention that they want for their brand. And sure, like to be out there, I believe it's like $100,000 for you to have somebody walk out there. But if you do get a position there where they're like, okay, you're going to get to walk, and obviously the more money you pay towards it, you get more exposure and you get more photographers, because there's a difference between just being invited and paying to be there. When you get invited, like, you know, they'll take a couple of pictures here and there, and then they tell you to move out of the way, you know? But you'll know when they're actually paid, because once once their platform gets their 250K, now you have like full on paparazzi taking pictures everywhere for you. And that's literally a bunch of exposure for your brand. I'm not there yet. You know?
No, because I've seen like, I mean, you know, whenever it happens, they always show, you know, the most outrageous. It's like, dude, there's no way these guys can be
like somebody
even
with a
comfortable at all. Like
the piano.
It's like, dude, this is ridiculous. Like, who in their right mind would, as a guy, right, or as me not knowing anything about fashion, I'm like, who in their right mind? And then you see like a Bad Bunny come out in a dress, and I was like, what the hell is going on, right? Like that's like, what's your take on that? Like on guys wearing dresses for these certain either events or galas or whatever. What's your take on that? Is that
honestly okay? This is probably going to be controversial here at this point.
Okay.
So I don't see dresses as either feminine or masculine. Personally, myself, I don't even see color as masculine or feminine. I don't think that it's a binary thing.
Okay.
I feel like anybody is free to express themselves in any way, shape, and form that they want to. Because I've met guys that are straight that wear dresses, that wear skirts, and they are perfectly 100% masculine. Como dice mi mamá, tienen los huevos bien agarrados, pero they like certain fashion.
Yeah.
And fashion should not dictate your sexuality. It should not dictate your preferences with man, woman, or whatever. It's all just a statement within yourself. Like this is a freedom of expression, and everyone should be free to express themselves. You know, I had my own little, I'll say this, like back in 10th grade, I was in high school. I had a very particular time frame where I was like, well, who am I? And I couldn't figure out who I was. And every month I would change. And my mom, she was like, well, what are you doing with yourself? Like, I was driving her crazy because I went from being a goth girl to being, you know, what is it called? Like a skater girl, and then changing my fashion every single month. And she would just be like, pues, what are you going to wear?
Expensive. Yeah, it's expensive after a while.
No, we would go to like, what is it called?
Fox Plaza, baby.
No, you know what? La Pulga.
Yep.
There you go. My mom, she would buy those big old, what do they call, like, they were costales, and we would just like,
good old days.
Hey, you know what? And it's funny, like I always tell people, like, I went through entrepreneurship because of that. You know, I started learning how to sell clothing at a very young age. I would have my yard sales every weekend, and
for the past month,
no,
for whatever the last month.
For real.
I can't see you goth though. I can't. That's the one thing I can't. Like I can't see you goth.
I was, with the white makeup and the black hair and the black lips and the dark eyebrows and the dark, you know, eyeliner.
The Misfits.
Yes. The gothic style dresses with the long, like really, like todo.
I can't see that.
Yeah.
That's wild.
I did the preppy look. I did the clueless look with the little skirts and todo, like little schoolgirl. But I was just like, I feel like that time frame, I was just experimenting with myself because I was trying to find who I was, you know? And then now that I'm a grown adult, I'm just like, I'm just trying to find things that are comfortable that I can move in. You know, I'm like, is it pretty? Do I like it? And sometimes, you know, I find outfits that I look online. I'm just like, man, Prada made this beautiful jumper suit. And I'm like, who has it? And I'll go look just to see how they made it. And I'm like, I can get this at home in 2 hours. And I'll pick my own color.
There you go. You can't go wrong with that.
Yeah.
Now going back to the music, you know, when you started, you said you were about 7, right? When you started, like, what kind of music was your what was your genre? Like, was it for some reason I'm not thinking cumbias. I'm thinking more. I'm getting the vibe of a little poppy, little gospel. Well, a lot of artists actually started as, you know, singing the gospel at Sunday church. Has it always been gospel, or is it?
It started off as gospel.
Okay.
So, and actually, it's a funny story. So, when I was 7 years old, we had testing at school, and the school evaluators basically told my mom, like, you have a very smart girl, but she's not picking up writing. She's not speaking like other kids, because people don't know. I didn't speak to people till I was around like 6, 7 years old.
Yeah.
And I wasn't picking up language like other kids, but because of the disabilities that I had cognitively. And she didn't know this, but everything else, I was extremely smart. And so she was like, well, what do we do? And she was just like, well, we can put her into like this program at school, or you can put her something like singing or dancing, something just to get her more creative and out of her shell. And so one day we're on our way to church, and they ask all the kids to go to this room, and all the kids are there practicing a song, and they put out a solo, and one of the ladies there sang the solo. And immediately in my head, this is a funny thing, is that like if I listen to a song just once, I can pick up the whole song. I have how do I say this? I could just pick up music.
So you're like Kanye,
kind of, yeah.
where you see you see music.
Exactly.
Like he sees colors with music and stuff like that. Okay.
Exactly. And so, so my mom put me in this you know little thing while church was going on. And so they sing the song, and I heard the solo. They had all the kids try to do it, and only 3 kids attempted to do it. 2 of them were not very good. And I sang the portion of the song, and I sang it obviously as a kid, a higher octave than what the lady was singing.
Right.
But I just remember everyone just being quiet, and they were just like, what in the world? And so we practiced the song, and at the end of the service, we went to go sing it in front of the church. And my mom was just surprised at the fact that here I am, this little girl who doesn't even know how to speak, and now I'm singing. And she's just like, what in the world? So she went to go talk to the pastor that was doing the classes with us, and and she straight up told him, she's like, how did you guys get her to sing? She doesn't even know how to read. Like, they gave me a piece of paper. I couldn't understand what they were trying to get me to read. I didn't understand even reading at that level yet. And so after that, like, I just started getting solos in church every single time. And then we eventually moved to another church. And then from that church, they were just like, oh, well, she sings, you know, and then I became like a little mini leader and started teaching all the other kids to sing parts. And I'm over here, you know, singing with them. And like I said, for many years of my life, I ended up becoming a choir instructor and just traveling the world with now my ex-husband. But we traveled the world with our music ministry and just creating children's choirs everywhere. And just, it was beautiful. It was a very beautiful time of my life, being able to do that and just spreading the gospel of God throughout the world with music. Now, yes, even after that, like I went through singing from middle school to high school to college. I was a singer at New Mexico State University. I trained classically, so I'm also a classically trained opera singer. And so after that, like it gave me the sense of discipline, more importantly, because at that time frame, I just thought to myself, well, I want to be a, you know, not a showgirl, but basically something similar to what Broadway is, you know, and learning how to dance and sing and act and do all that. But when I went into learning classical, I learned that I wasn't as talented as I thought I was, you know. I was just like, oh my, like I have a lot to learn, you know, vocally and breath wise, and understanding how to train my ear with music to pick up notes so much faster. And then not just that, like I ended up having to take all types of dialect courses in order for me to sing what the school was requiring us to sing. So I'm happy to say I can sing in 6 languages, and it's cool, you know, because not everybody can sing in German or Latin or, you know, or French. And that opened my doors and opportunities for me to even go and sing with others type of artists.
Yeah.
But
Yeah. Well, like Broadway, it's more overdone, right? Like the singing style is more over.
it requires more chest voice because you are definitely transmitting.
You have to.
more.
You got to throw it out there because you don't always have a mic to do that for you. It's more just throwing your voice across the whole stage and arena.
There
or whatever.
is mics, okay?
Right, but you gotta.
People think that you don't have a mic, but they're hanging from there.
Okay.
We just don't see them.
Yeah, you have the booms. You have the booms hanging over, but yeah, you gotta throw that out there more, and it's more of that you know, it's like a play, right? Because you're gotta emulate and fill the arena with your essence, right?
Yes.
As opposed to singing, you know, traditionally, or like your pop stars or whatever that have all the auto tunes and all that shit. So, do you play any musical instruments, or is it just singing?
I play a mean tambourine.
Oh, dude, yep. There you go. You can't go wrong with the tambourine.
You can't go wrong with tambourine. I always tell people, I'm like, I'm creating a vibe with the tambourine. Okay.
That and cowbell. You gotta have more cowbell. You can't go wrong with a cowbell and a tambourine.
Believe it or not, I do not. It's crazy that I don't know how to play any instruments. I did take 3 years of piano courses in college because I was required to, but straight up to like actually play some cool stuff like that, I do not know how. Like I do not. But I will say this, because of my ear training, I do know when you're wrong. I know when you're off, and I will tell you, I'm like, you're off key, you're off tempo, you're off pitch, but you're off in some sort. And that I can pick up with drums, with guitars, with bass guitars, with violins. Like no matter what you're playing, I will know when you are off. But as far as actually playing it, no, unfortunately, no.
No, you're not there. I mean, we all have to have our.
Hey, I can't be perfect.
Yeah, we all have to all have our ones and want certain things. So I know you said that in one of your songs that come out in a motion picture, the song that you had, was it the gospel? Was it a gospel song also, or was it a different style song?
So that's it's more of a pop style song.
Okay,
but it's a ballad. It's called "I Tried to Save You," and it's an emotion picture movie called "The Life We Left Behind," and it's a beautiful movie about a man and woman who basically had all these dreams of how do I say this? Just dreams of all the things that they wanted to do in life. But the young lady ends up getting cancer. She dies. And the whole movie is just a reflection of all the things that the guy wanted to do with her. And he does get to eventually do them, but he does them without her. Yeah.
So when like, how does that come about? Like, do you receive a call from, say, the whoever's in charge of the music score is like, look, I really love your song. I want to use your song. Can we use it, or how does that work?
So no, so yes and no. So the way that I did is so I submitted my music to a bunch of different platforms. One of them happened to be Netflix. So you can submit your music to Netflix, to Hulu, to all of these companies. And if they ever have any movies that they're scoring, and if it kind of fits the vibe of what they're trying to portray, then they'll say, hey, we like your song, it kind of fits our vibe, and then they'll pay you a specific amount of money, and then they'll give you a certain residual for how many plays that movie gets. Right. So I get residuals. So far, I've made $12.
That's what's up. Hey, that's $12 more than I've made. Let me tell you.
Hey, but at least I can say my song's in a movie. Okay.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, that's coming from, you know, Chaparral to now your music's on a motion picture is pretty phenomenal. Not many people could say that, right?
Exactly.
Especially with all the you know, all the hardships that you had, I guess the learning disabilities that you, like you said, it's a great opportunity to show people, like, you know, you can make anything of yourself. This is just something as simple as this goes a long way. You know what I mean? Especially, like I said, coming from a small city with the learning disability that you had, and now you're doing, you're learning music, you're singing your music, you're designing dresses. I mean, you got a whole, you're owning, all kinds of different companies and design labels, and just making an impact on the world, because everybody, I've always believed that everybody has, at the end of the day, you have to try to leave kind of a fingerprint,
Yeah.
because we're not here that long. Like you said, you've experienced, that aneurysm that you said you had. You should have, like, you're a walking miracle. And the fact that you're able to do all this, it kind of shows you're here for a reason.
Yeah.
Right. And the fingerprint that you're leaving behind, and I know we're talking right now earlier, you're saying that it's very important for you to teach people, it be how to model, how to, monetize their music, how to, just monetize themselves.
Yeah.
It's something that's refreshing, because a lot of the times now people just want to worry about themselves.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about me, 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 me. And it's refreshing when you have somebody that says, well, I've been through that. I've been through, whatever my hardships are, and this is what I've learned, and I want to help others.
Yeah.
Like, was that instilled in you at a young age, or is that just something that just, with this second chance of life after the aneurysm, that you're like, something just turned on and said, this is what I got to do?
Honestly, it was because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So back when I had that aneurysm, I had just barely turned 30. I was a few months in.
Wow.
And I thought to myself, like, what is it? Why am I even here?
Mm-hmm.
Like, I ended up having to go get, obviously, like, a whole blood analysis, and I ended up finding out, like, I'm extremely unhealthy. So I had to change my life. But one of the biggest precursors of what happened is that, like, I straight up, just, I had that see the light,
Mm-hmm.
like that, when people say you see the light and something happens, like I saw this grand vision. And when I woke up and I realized I'm still alive,
Right.
I realized, I'm like, okay, God, you instilled this incredible vision in me. I have to make this happen.
Mm-hmm.
And no matter what it is, like, I have to make this happen. And it took me years, because I'm 41 now. I didn't really fully start giving all that energy for my nonprofit until barely 3 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
And 3 years ago, it was weighing on me so heavily that I was just like, God, like, if this is you that is telling me do this now.
Yeah.
Because it's strange to me that 3 years ago, all of my projects, none of them were flourishing. It's like I was just failing. And I'm just like, God, why am I failing? I'm trying my best, But it felt like, and then I would get like these like certain moments, like I'd be walking somewhere and I'd hear some kids sing and it would stop me. And I'm just like, what the heck? Like, are you trying to tell me something? But I wouldn't pay attention,
Right.
And it's like, I had those moments so many times that eventually I was like, okay, God, I'm listening. Just tell me what you want me to do. And one day I woke up like in a sweat, and I remember seeing this horrible thing happening. And I remember in my mind saying, if I don't do this now, something even worse is going to happen. So I have to go do it now. And so that very day, I kid you not, como dicen, it's like when you have the terror of God in you, I literally woke up, filed my LLC, did my articles of incorporation, did all the documentation that same day. And I remember praying to God and saying, God, if this is you, you're going to align everybody. I know you are, because you know my heart, and you know that everything that I want to do for the community, it is legit coming from a good space. And so I started contacting companies and contacting people and telling them, this is what I want to do. And all of a sudden, boom, 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 people just started donating. How can I help you? This. And I'm just like, what? And it's like, I'm not even 3 days in. And now I'm getting people saying, yes, I want to help you. Yes, 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 yes. And then I thought to myself, okay, God, this is you. This isn't me. Because now you're aligning the people there for me. And then sure enough, like, we did our very first event. Nobody, well, I don't want to say nobody showed up, but like 13 people showed up. And I was just like, I was so sad, because I was just like, man, I have like thousands of followers on all these platforms, and then the moment that I'm putting out there something that I genuinely want to do, that I love,
Yep.
nobody shows up,
Yeah.
you know? And then the people that did show up were strangers. I was just like, damn, like I was legit hurt.
Right.
And so my best friend, she tells me at that time, she was like, don't let this hurt you. Like, you just need to keep going forward. You know, the people that are meant to be part of this, they're gonna be a part of it, and the ones that are not, they're not gonna get it, and it's okay,
Right.
because not everybody has the heart to do what you want to do. And I was like, you're right. But that night I went home and I thought to myself, no, I just need to do big, do something big.
Go big
And
or
then
go home.
exactly, I'm like, if I don't do something big, nobody's going to know who I am. Nobody's going to know what we're trying to accomplish. And so oddly, and like I said, this is always God. Oddly, that day that I was thinking that, I was walking down the Southwest Stadium and I get a phone call as I'm walking down the stadium. Okay. And they call me and I'm just like, I was like, I even asked the girl, do you guys have like echolocation on people's phones? And she was like, no, why? I was like, I am literally walking right in front of your ticket area. And she just laughs. And she was just like, oh, no. She's like, not nothing like that. But
Yeah.
we are calling you because, and she tells me, well, we're a large, you know, fundraising platform, and we saw you on what is it, Channel 14 or CBS or something like that. But they saw me on the news. And she was like, we saw what you're trying to do, and you know, we know that you're trying to fundraise. Would you guys give us an opportunity to come and bring in kids over to the stadium? And basically, you guys could get to do like the pregame show, or you guys can do, you know, the Star Spangled Banner, and
Okay.
then, and if we like it, you know, we can continue going forward, right? And so I was like, okay, cool. But then I go, take my whole team with me, and we're told, yes, we can go and work with them, but at the cost of selling 700 tickets. And I'm just like, what? I'm
Yeah.
like, that is a lot of tickets. And
Yep.
so I thought to myself, I was like, well, we're going to make this much money. That way we can help the kids and they get to perform. And sure enough, like, we brought the first group, and they got their checks, and then we brought a second group, and then a third group, then a fourth group, then a fifth group. And it wasn't until the fifth group that we had the attention of Crystal Poppin. And she was just like, yo, I saw those girls dancing. I want them in a music video. I got this song coming up in a couple of months, and I'll call you when it's time. And she calls me on a Friday out of the blue, and she says, I need some dancers by Monday. And I'm just like, girl, it's the weekend. Like, what in the world? But we ended up putting everything together, and they got to perform with Paul Wall and with
Damn.
Crystal Poppin. And anybody can go and stream Crystal Poppin's song. It's called Champions. So my girls that are there, they're all part of Pass the Dream Foundation, and they got the opportunity to not just go and fundraise for their organization,
Right.
but they were able to also be a part of that. And I'm just lucky. I feel like the people that I surround myself with are just amazing individuals. But this particular dance group, they've been to what is it? So You Think You Could Dance? They've been
Okay.
to World of Dance. I believe a couple of months ago, they just won first place
Oh, wow.
for World of Dance, and their main choreographer. He is such an amazing individual, but he's the one that choreographed the number that they did, the last one. And Alejandro, he's out in Europe right now, but he got a full ride scholarship to go and learn more of his dance out in Europe. And
Damn.
and I'm just like, but that's the thing I was just telling you
Yeah.
about. I'm like, it's weird how God aligns me with not just good people, it's like with the best of the best, and I'm always finding these gems that nobody knows about, and I'm just like, I want to continue highlighting these people.
Right.
And it's not even about me at this point, you
Yeah.
know, because people that know, I don't charge even what I should be charging for what I do.
Right.
I do it because it genuinely is from the bottom of my heart. You know, I've lived a life that has given me so many blessings, and I'm not talking monetary blessings,
Right.
because money comes and goes.
Yep.
But I'm talking about opportunities. I'm talking about just having the ability to meet more people in certain industries and continuing to grow yourself. Those are the things that I've had the opportunity to, and I want to share that with other people. Now, granted, I will share it with those that are grateful. You arrogant, get out of my way.
Yeah, just like the models, right? Bless you. Just like the models. So all that said, right? October 17th, 18th, and 19th.
Yes.
The Third Eye Carnival. I know you said always go big or go home.
Always go big or home.
So how did the Third Eye Carnival come about, and what exactly is this Third Eye Carnival? And it's going down. Where is it happening at? It's happening in.
It's happening in Anthony, New Mexico,
Okay, yeah, I was
on
trying to see on here,
October
it's not showing.
17th, 18th, and 19th.
Okay.
So on the 17th, we have a bunch of rock bands and rappers coming in to perform in a single stage. We got beach balls, mosh pits, and we have really cool sponsors. We're going to have in-house Deuces Ink Lounge. They're doing tattoos on people. They're bringing out their whole staff to come and tattoo people. We have Hemp Quarters down there on Mesa Street. They're going to be selling pre-rolls with THCA, and we have also Pure Med of Chaparral. They're going to be out there selling product, and so we're expecting a really, really good night and a really good outcome for everybody that's in that vibe. So if you're a rapper and you're a rocker, this is definitely the place that you want to be on October the 17th.
So October 17th, that's when all the well, not all the music, but that's when the majority of the music happens, right?
That's when the rock show,
That's when the rock show is.
rap show happens, and then on the 18th we have the carnival portion of it. So we have a bunch of vendors, we have games and prizes for the kids, and this is mostly a community event. We want this to be open for family, so obviously all family members are welcome to come in there from 10 to 5. Children are coming in free. So if you're under the age of 18, all kids are free. Tickets are $10 at the door. However, I'm very excited to say, like, our nonprofit actually merged with them for that particular event for the carnival. So lo que viene siendo Paso Dream Foundation, we are gifting out 100 tickets to the first families that come in there, and they can be a part of the event absolutely free. And everything that we're raising from that is also going back to another organization. So what we're raising, it never stays with us.
Right.
At the end of our calendar years with Paso Dream, we always end up at zero. But because we give every penny back, like we don't keep any of it. And all of the people that work with us literally work with us for free. They're in it because they want to see kids thrive. You know, at the very end of the day, I want kids to realize that there are people out here that really do believe in their dreams. And sometimes you just need that one person, because that one person does make a difference.
Oh, absolutely. So the second day, that's when you have Michale Graves, right? He's the main event for that concert.
Yes. So we have Michale Graves and Burning Sunday performing that later on that evening. So the carnival, it'll crash down at 5. Everyone goes home, has their fun time. But that is a 21 and over event.
21 and over.
A lot of the songs that they sing are very explicit. So this is a rock concert for like the hardcore rockers. But the cool thing is, we still have all the vendors, all the sponsors that are coming in. So it's going to be a 420 friendly event.
420 friendly. There you go.
420 friendly. Yes. And then of course we're going to have the tattoo lounges. We have a bunch of food trucks that are coming in. We have a certified celebrity mixologist that's coming in from San Diego to
mixologist. Is that a bartender?
He is.
Okay.
California, and he's going to be making people's drinks out there. So
nice.
We are expecting a beautiful crowd.
Hell yeah.
The only thing is that the reason we're doing this is because Michale Graves wants to set some things straight. You know, he's been involved in a lot of controversy over the past 2 years, and he wants to set things straight. I've had the opportunity to speak to this individual, and he's just a kind man. I'm just like, I first had to ask him. I'm like, yo, like, there's all this crazy stuff on you on Wikipedia and YouTube and whatnot, and he was like, that's all lies. And he's like, a lot of people can't just believe everything they see on the internet, you know, and And so I had the opportunity to speak with this individual. He's a good Christian man. He loves his family. He works hard for his kids, you know, and he's just a person just like you and me, you know. But he is going to be coming in and performing an acoustic version of his music, and it's a very private event. We're only selling 300 tickets, so it's a very exclusive event, you know. To those that do get chosen, they get to come in. We're going to have T-shirts, what is it called? The meet and greets with Michale Graves. And we're just excited. We're excited to have him here. But more importantly, we are excited to have the opportunity as an organization to provide something back to the community, and at the same time highlighting people in the community as well.
So Michale Graves, for people that aren't too enthralled with the name or don't recognize the name exactly, what band was he from?
He's from the Misfits.
Damn. Wow. Okay. And then the acoustic?
Yes. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
You have to be there.
That's something special. Wow. Yeah, that, like you said, if he's got a lot of, hopefully, is he gonna, since it's such an intimate show, is that's, I'm assuming that's done on purpose, right? Because he wants to get things off his chest, and
exactly
to the point to where, I guess he's a lot, I mean, just the fact that he's part of the Misfits, first of all, and then second of all, he's, like you said, he's been through some controversial stuff that, hopefully he gets, whatever cleared up, because like you said, you can't believe everything on the internet.
You can't.
I mean, because that's what's so crazy about the internet, is that it doesn't matter if you're right, it just matters that you're first. And that's the scary part.
That's the scary part, because now anybody can put anything on Wikipedia with the click of a mouse, and you pay the right amount, and anybody can say anything about you, or and just put it out there. And
then it's not, and instead of actually talking about whatever the fact is or whatnot, you're too busy defending whatever somebody made up about you. And no matter what you say, once one person gets a hold of it and it runs like wildfire, it's it's damn near impossible to put out the fire, right?
Exactly.
Now, on the 19th, you got something else going on. What's going on with the third day of the Third Eye Carnival?
So on that, we have a podcast panel, and we have several acclaimed authors that are coming in. So the whole purpose of this event itself is to bring more awareness to the people in our community. We want people to know about all these new laws that are being implemented into our government, and how our tax dollars are currently being utilized. There's a lot of people that in our just right now, like everywhere, everyone is working hard, because we got to make a dollar just to stay alive, to pay our rent, to pay our bills. We don't have time to stop and listen to the media. And because there's so much being in the media, there's so much propaganda, you don't even know what's real or fake anymore, and so people just have decided, we're just going to cancel CNN and K-Fox and everything, and just not even listen. And unless it's happening on FitFam, nobody pays attention to it,
That's and even at that, that's a slippery slope, because there's no backing of everything. It's just
it's just hearsay at this point. But basically what we're doing, the whole reasoning behind this is because there is a lot of controversy that's happening within the White House right now. The American people are unaware that their current U.S. American taxes aren't even going back to helping our nation. This is now funding medical for the IDF, which is the Israeli Department of Defense. Our tax dollars are literally paying for the homicide and the genocide and the Holocaust of the Gaza people in Palestine. And as an American, we have a responsibility to stand up for ourselves and say, no, this is not where I want my money to go to. But if we don't say anything, then by acquiescence, we're allowing it to happen. And there's so much more beyond, just what's happening with Gaza, immigration reform. There's so much that's happening with children and how they are being portrayed, the consensus of marriage, the fact that there's so many just new laws that have gone into effect that people need to be aware of. Because now and I don't know if you heard about this, but with that big bill, they eradicated the sales tax. They eradicated all kinds of taxes. But that just means that next year we're going to pay even more tax than what we're used to now.
Right.
Now we're looking at like the highest form of inflation that we've ever seen in our lives. And this is supposed to go into effect next year. But people don't look at it now because it's not affecting them right now.
Right.
But it will affect them next year once all of this goes into effect. They've eradicated property taxes, but unfortunately, by them eradicating property taxes, no one will ever own land. So that means that, you know, the house that your grandma had for 50 years, it no longer belongs to nobody. And so there's a lot that's going into effect that people need to wake up to, because there's just too much happening where, how do I say this? It's happening too much, too fast, that you can't even stop and say, oh my God, let me say something about this, because the other thing's already happening. And then once you're like, oh my God, okay, now I'm backed up. Now I got two things to worry about. Oh, well, the third one now happened. And now the fourth one happened. Personally, myself, like I see like all these things that are happening in the government right now. And specifically like with what happened to Charlie Clerk, you know, there's a lot of controversy behind that as well. And I personally don't want to speak too much about that, because at the end of the day, like that man was a family man. Somebody lost their father, somebody lost their husband. But there is a whole lot of controversy behind that. Personally, myself, I always see the fact that Donald Trump himself is involving himself with that family. I'm just like, it brings me more disgust than anything, because I'm just like, why are they using this as a ploy? They're using this as a tactic. The government doesn't get in screwed or with somebody else's life unless they can maneuver it in some sort of way.
But they've been doing that forever, though.
Oh yeah, they have.
It's not anything new. It's just the newest incident. You know, I mean, they've been doing it forever. There's always somebody that they bring up, you know, when they're having, like, especially when they're doing the address of the nation, they bring in, you know, whoever to sit at the top, and like when Trump first got in, he brought out Elon and some survivors from what was the incident that happened back then? I can't remember whatever the incident, but it's always something. I mean, you always got to pander to, you know, whatever emotion they want you to hit or whatnot. But so the podcast people that you have, these guys are all the guests that you have. I know some of the guests that you have put on here. You have America Unplug, Tony Afterburn, website Afterburn Gold, Steve Polkonen. Yeah, I can't. I knew I was gonna say it. Podchaser.com and Craig Paso from Pasta To Go Show. These guys are these like political podcasts?
They're all political podcasts.
Are they all left, right? Are they a mixture? Are they?
They are a mixture of a lot of things, you know. But at the end of the day, what they want is just to spread truth, spread awareness, and make sure that people are constantly questioning.
Yeah,
that's the biggest thing, is that people need to question what is around them, because if we don't, then we're going to fall into that same loop of acquiescence, and we're just agreeing because we didn't disagree.
Right. Yeah, and that's something that I guess with the social media that we have nowadays, which is kind of, you know, it's an oxymoron. Well, not an oxymoron, but it's so sad that we have so much power to get knowledge, like real knowledge at our fingertips, but instead of trying to build each other up, we're too busy trying to tear each other down. And the beauty, I guess you could say, you know, depending which way you're looking at it, of the social media is that, say, for example, if I want to keep my power, I'm going to just have you guys fighting amongst yourselves. Yeah. Because then you're not going to be able to pay attention to what the hell I'm doing. Yeah. And that's the thing that's sad when it comes to, you know, like what you're mentioning with the Charlie Kirk. People just don't want to talk anymore. People are either you're with me or you're against me. Mm-hmm. And that's not how... It's
crazy to me that we're living in a state now where people are genuinely fighting because of different perspectives. Yeah. Like, my mindset doesn't align with your mindset, and because of what we think, we're gonna fight each other. We're
Right.
gonna kill each other. Like
Yeah.
that makes no sense to me. It's crazy where we're living in right now.
Yeah, and the thing that I know that I haven't even mentioned that, and I was just thinking about this the other day. All these politicians, once something happens, they come out and they start blaming. Well, the left did this, the right did that, and I was like, you know what? If you sit here and think about it, it's the politicians that are causing this because they'll come out. When somebody wins, they'll come out and we got to fight. And I wish I could punch him in the face. And they're talking all this negative and, bringing all this hatred, which is
Yeah.
actual hate speech.
Hate speech.
When
yes.
you're saying it, but then when it's their party, it's like, oh no, we're just saying that we have the right. I was like, no, you're giving out hate speech. You're that person that is too far, whichever side it is taking that too hard, and now they're like, oh, now they're giving us a green light to go do some dumb shit.
Exactly.
And these guys, when it comes up, it's like, oh, I never said that's not what I meant. No, that's what you said. And these guys need to start acting like fucking adults in our White House, especially in the chambers of government, where these guys are supposed to be setting the example. And even when they show like their little committees or whatever, they're at each other's throats like little kids. And it's like, well, if you're acting like that, how do you expect other
The rest
people
of the
to act?
nation to act.
Yeah, and it's like, dude, y'all need to get your shit together. And then how you have the nerve to come out and you think you have the right to lecture me when you're acting like a 3-year-old?
Exactly.
Set the example, but it's easier said. Do as I say, don't do as I do, right?
Exactly.
That's always been the best way to, keep the power on it, and then hopefully, because El Paso is a super blue, even though Texas is super red. El Paso's, because I'm not sure if it's just because it's a border city or whatever it is. They're always thinking super blue, so hopefully, people could actually just sit down and see each other's different perspectives and be like, oh, dude, some of that makes sense, some of that doesn't. Let's build out what does, because that's what we need to do to be at peace with each other, because at the end of the day, we all live with each other.
Exactly.
And I know one of the things that I keep on saying, because I know, like, when you talk about politicians and they start doing their, the big thing is always the race, right? It's always racist. We're saying one of the things that I've always said is that if you see somebody who is somebody who's from the UK and they're black, what do you call them? They're just British.
They're just British.
But yet here, they have to be
African
something American.
Yeah.
Why? Why aren't we just American? That's what we need to get away from, is putting those extra fucking labels on ourselves. We're just American. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Sure.
Like I was born here. I was raised here.
Yeah.
I'm American.
Exactly. That's it. It's no more everything else. The moment that we're able to say that we're something, that we're united in a way,
Yeah.
that's the only way we can build for it. And
But
hopefully
see,
with what you got here at the Third Eye Carnival.
That's why we're talking to people,
Yeah.
because these past few months I had to go and investigate all of this myself, because there was so many whistleblowers online that were saying, you guys, the White House literally just approved some amendment, and basically and it's still active right now, like the court judges, if they see it fit, they can now deport American citizens. This is no longer about immigration. This is now of just like, they want to do what they want to do, and if they don't like you, even if you are an American now, this country could deport you. And people need to be aware of that. And you can still fight it, but we need a lot of people to stand up, because unfortunately, yes, one person could at least, plant the seed, but it takes a lot of us to go out there and harvest, and we need to get up and say something, because we're at this point now where, because they got away with that, they're like, okay, well, we can now do this and do this and do
keep
this.
Pushing.
And now they're just pushing and saying, oh, well, we keep getting away with it. We can continue getting away with it.
Right.
And I'm just like, I'm at this point right now where I'm just like, I'm fed up. I'm just
Yeah.
like, I'm sorry, but like, I'm just like, I'm fed up. Like, when you have me at this point now where I'm just like, man, we have to put on a show
Yeah.
in order for us to bring in knowledge and communication to people. You done fucked up, because you pissed off an Aquarius.
Yeah, I mean, but the fact that you're doing this show, the Third Eye Carnival, October 17th, 18th, and 19th, that you're having a show where people could hopefully get together in unison and tranquility and peace and be able to hear everybody's point of view and just take it as, okay, let's see what we could build on.
Yeah.
As opposed to fisticuffs, what we're being taught right now.
Yeah.
Is that you're not supposed to like somebody because they're far this, or they're on the blue, or you're not supposed to like this person because they're red, or it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, as long as you're being able to treat people humanely and the way we're supposed to, it is what it is. Like I don't care what your politics are, because it's not going to affect me what you think. It's as long as we're able to coincide with the basic human manners, I guess you could say, or just basic human rights, and we just treat each other like real people, we're good.
Yeah.
Everything else is whatever.
And that's the thing, like with me, when it comes to all of that, like I don't care if you're black, if you're white, if you're Hispanic, if you're a tranny, if whatever you are, as long as you respect me, if you don't disrespect my children, if you do, and if you don't try to force me into believing what you believe,
Right.
we're cool. I always say, like, you come to me and you say you're a cat, I'm just going to meow back at you, but I'm just like, okay, but don't make me say, I'm a cat too. No,
Right.
I'm a human being, but
Yeah.
for the sake of respecting you, I'll meow back at you.
just to entertain it, right? So where can people get tickets for the Third Eye Carnival?
So they can go to thirdeyecarnival.com. We have tickets for all of the shows. First show is $35 with all the rock bands and rap artists and all of the cool stuff that's going to be happening that evening. Then we have the Third Eye Carnival for the main carnival, and you
Right.
can get tickets there in person and buy them at the door, or they can go through thirdeyecarnival.com and get them there as well. And then for the Michale Graves tickets, you can actually go to the specific sellers. We have 3 locations that they can get their tickets from, but they can go and get their tickets over at Hempquarters, at Deuce's Ink Lounge, and at Pure Med Spa. We have more people that are coming in and having their tickets there in person, but they
Right.
will be available there. They can buy them online, but I'm telling you, they're going to be cheaper if they find them at the specific locations.
Right, just because of taxes and all that other.
Well, not just that. So if they buy them online, they're $65 for the tickets. If they buy them in person, they're only $45.
Okay.
So we've instructed people so that these we want them to sell,
Right.
And like I said, we have a limited amount of tickets. There's only 300 tickets that were printed out. So it is a very private show.
Yeah.
And it's, like I said, it's an acoustic version of
Oh,
this
you
show.
can't be an acoustic. Oh,
Oh, and
that's
I'm
my shit.
telling you right now, that venue has the most awesome. The sound in there is beautiful.
Jeez.
It's beautiful. So it's going to be a beautiful show, and he's come in there and he's going to set some things straight and talk to the people so people know who Michale Graves truly is, because right now, based on what's being portrayed on social media and on Wikipedia, they have no idea who he is. They really don't.
Yeah, no, that's usually how it is. I mean, 90% of the shit out there is probably false on everybody. It's just, that's whatever the agenda is for whoever put it out there. That's,
Yeah.
and unfortunately, that's the world we live in. And then for the day 3 for the podcasters,
For the posters and the ethers, we
Yes.
have that for $15. It's going to run from 9 a.m. to 12 o'clock. And people they get to come and be a part of the podcast, put in their own, 2 cents onto whatever these subject matters are. But basically, this is a sit down. We're going to have a full breakfast for everybody to come and enjoy, breakfast with us, kind of brunchy, and just communicate with other people that are like-minded. And it's a great way for people to just network. And we have badass podcasters, but we also have really cool authors right there as well. And they all have their own particular subject matter that they're coming in to talk about. And I'm just hoping that more people are receptive, not just to come to the carnival and to the concerts, but to really come for the knowledge part, know, and be a part of the Third Eye movement.
Yeah, so for the authors, you have Zoe Smith, who has a book, Thrill Kill Medical Cult. Charlie Robinson, the book of the Octopus of Global Control. That sounds interesting. John Kleisick, the book is A School World Order. Ooh. And Corey Hughes was the website of www.coreyhughes.org. The octopus
he's a
sounds
multi-published author.
Yeah.
So we just gave the website because he has too many books out
sick.
there.
He has too much to talk about. So for sure, October 17th, 18th, and 19th, going down at 1230 Barino Road in Anthony, New Mexico. Make sure you get your tickets. Make sure you show up. Have an open mind. Get a chance to definitely go see Michale Graves. Anytime you have a limited amount of seats and it's such an intimate show, you can't. That's something that's very hard to miss, especially if you're a lover of music. Oh, then you see somebody who's done it on the big stages, and to have him. I mean, it's almost a personal show at that point, you know, at your convenience, and to have maybe even a conversation with the gentleman. That's man, kudos. I can't wait for this Third Eye Carnival. Illiana, you, like I said, author. You're a philanthropist, musician. You're a designer. You have your the Paso Dream Foundation. You got so much stuff going on. I can't wait to see what you have next after the Third Eye Carnival. Before we head out, any last words you have for the people listening? Where can they find, if they want more information about either yourself or your any of the entrepreneurs, any of the companies that you have, or any of the Paso Foundation? Where can they get information about all this stuff?
So they can go, honestly, everything we deal with the social media platforms, because obviously social media is one of the biggest platforms now.
Yeah.
So if they want to know more about the nonprofit organization, they can go to Pass the Dream Foundation, and they can find out more information on there. But like I said, the carnival is doing a collab with the organization. Okay. So it's a community event for kids and for families. If they want to know more about the brands, they can go online to Instagram. They can go to Diora Couture, Diora Couture White Label, or at Ticini Girl. And I'm always looking for girls that are entrepreneurs. I love hustler girls. So if you a hustler, like, contact me. I wanna put you on game. You know,
yeah. I love seeing girls from Hustler.
Yeah.
Wait. No, wait. Pause. Yes. Yeah, I said it. No, for sure. I mean, like I said, the amount of knowledge that we've talked about, you know, during the pod, before the pod, it's what you're doing is truly inspirational, especially with the hardships that you've overcome, and you are a true example of what you can do when you put your mind to it. Yeah. I can't wait to see, like I said, October 17th, 18th, and 19th, the Third Eye. Oh, I'm looking at the background is going on one. The Third Eye Carnival. Make sure you guys get your tickets. Like I said, take advantage, especially of that Saturday, of that 300 people that get to see an acoustic set from a great musician who needs to get something off his chest. And usually when you hear that, it's gonna be an event for sure. Illiana, I really appreciate you coming out.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, anytime you want to come back, that chair is open for you.
Thank you.
So next time, guys, make sure you guys follow her, Illiana Official, on the Instagram. It's _ Illiana Official on there. She also has the Ticini Girl, the Diora Couture, as well as a Pass the Dream Foundation. All the links are on there, as well as the Third Eye Carnival. Make sure you guys get your tickets. Go support something that'll give you something to think about after having a blast with your kids, and being able to bring what's important to a life, which is community, which is something that we need to get back and focus on and go back to square one. So till next time, guys, don't be an asshole. Don't be a dick. Deuces.